TxDOT is being called upon more and more to assist during emergency operations. We need to be ready to take our equipment, fuel, and support material where it is needed without putting our employees at risk. TxDOT forces were called on to provide fuel for TxDOT support crews and the public during the mass evacuation of the Houston, Galveston, and surrounding areas during Hurricane Rita. It was the largest evacuation in Texas history. An estimated 3 million people moved inland within 72 hours of the evacuation notice. We learned during Hurricane Rita that additional fuel supplies to support the traveling public were needed to ensure a rapid evacuation. The Texas Division of Emergency Management created a fuel team of private fuel companies. The fuel team has done an excellent job of ensuring that there is ample fuel available along evacuation routes prior to a storm. As a result, TxDOT is no longer the main provider of fuel to the evacuating public. Our operations are now focused on providing fuel for re-entry operations for our own employees and other state agencies and organizations involved in disaster relief. TxDOT has purchased 30 fuel tanks to support emergency operations across the state. During hurricane season, tanks will be moved to strategic staging locations to support future evacuation and re-entry efforts. TxDOT maintenance personnel have responded to many emergency situations and disaster cleanups across the state. However, transferring and hauling bulk fuel is not an operation performed on a regular basis. This operational and safety video will provide basic safety procedures to follow when transferring and hauling bulk fuel during emergency operations. Remember, while you're out there keeping TxDOT crews working and fellow Texans moving, safety should be your first concern, both for yourself and others. The 30 TCG Cab Transcube is UL certified and UNDOT approved. The tank is mounted in a fully enclosed weatherproof secondary containment with lockable access hatches. It is equipped with a fitting valve and inlet controls located on the front of the tank and a storage compartment located at the rear of the Transcube. The vent pipe used during the fueling operations is locked down for transport. Do not attempt to lift, unstack, or transport the Transcube with the 4,000-pound forklift while there is fuel in the tank. Do not stack the empty Transcube more than 2 tanks high during transport operations or while storing. A 4,000-pound forklift can be used to stack, transport, and load the empty tanks on trailers and in dump trucks. Use caution when stacking or handling the tank, and always use proper forklift handling procedures. Here's how to safely unstack, move, and load the empty tank in a 6-yard dump truck using a 4,000-pound forklift. We'll also cover the proper procedures to transfer fuel from the Transcube to other tanks and equipment. The Transcube is intended to be transported and operated in TxDOT's 6-yard dump trucks equipped with extended power or from a trailer deck using a 120-volt generator. The tailgate must be removed to properly operate the tank's ground operation pump system. The Transcube fuel tanks are equipped with a storage compartment at the rear of the tank. The compartment should contain the following: AC motor and pump, hand operating pump, 2 fuel hoses, 10 and 20 feet, spill kit, 10-pound fire extinguisher, chock blocks, and electrical power cords for AC and DC motors. Also, personal protective equipment, including nitrile gloves, safety glasses, face shield, and a rubber apron. There should also be fuel filters, a grounding cable, T-post driver, and extended power jumper cables.
They were on standby.
Grounding to a vehicle or metal container is the safest practice. When grounding to a vehicle or metal container is not feasible, grounding rods may be used. Grounding rods must be driven a minimum of 2 feet into the ground. Remember to remove the rods when the work is complete. Prior to loading the empty tank in the dump truck, it will be necessary to remove the DC pump and motor mounted on the ground operating bracket, 2 fuel hoses, grounding cable, rubber apron, nitrile gloves, portable step, fire extinguisher, T-post driver, grounding plate, chalk blocks, and spill kit. Place 12-inch chalk blocks lengthwise at the front of the bed as spacers. This will provide adequate space for the automatic tarp and ratcheting. Before lifting the transcube, place boomers and chains on each of the 4 corners. Using a spotter, load the empty tank into the dump truck. Center the tank in the bed, leaving an equal space on either side. Dump trucks are equipped with 2 eyelets located at the rear of the dump bed. These will be used to secure the rear of the tank. The 2 D-rings located on the rear dump truck hitch plate will be used to secure the front on the tank. Using the 4 corner brackets on the tank, secure with no smaller than 3/8 inch chain and ratchet boomers. Install the ground operation pump and bracket by inserting it into the receiver tube and pin the receiver into place. The ladder platform is placed alongside the transcube for travel. Secure the platform with bungee cords. With the ground pump in traveling position, you are now ready to begin fueling operations. If transporting the tank to an alternate location, store all remaining items removed from the tank storage box in the dump truck toolbox. Static fires are always a risk when fueling. On average, 30 fires a year are started by static electricity at gasoline fueling stations. Keep in mind that you are dealing with hundreds of gallons of gasoline during the transfer of fuel process. The potential of a catastrophic incident is real. Here's a checklist for avoiding a static electricity gas pump fire. Shut off vehicle. Don't re-enter vehicle. Never leave the gas nozzle unattended. Never smoke around the gas pump. Put away the cell phone. Discharge any potential static electricity. Don't top off the gas tank. Avoid gas vapors. When preparing to refuel vehicles and equipment from TransCube, the ladder platform must be raised. The platform allows safe access to the top of the TransCube and its controls. In transit, the platform travels alongside the TransCube in the dump truck, safely secured. Proper positioning of the truck and the tanker for fueling is important. Position the truck so that backing will not be necessary. Don't create a situation where the employee performing fuel operations is boxed in while transferring fuel. Always leave yourself an open path to run in the event of fire. Prepare to assist with the fuel team member. Raise the ladder platform and secure to the dump truck bed. Then raise the vent pipe and lift the fitting cover to access the filler cap and fuel inlet. Make sure a fire extinguisher is present. It's important to ground the bulk fuel tank to the equipment being fueled. This helps dissipate static electricity during the fueling process. Insert the nozzle and begin fueling. TransCube refueling times will vary depending on the amount of remaining fuel and the type of hose used to transfer fuel. When fueling is complete, replace the filler cap. Make sure the fuel levers are closed. Shut the fitting cover. Lower the vent pipe. Lower the ladder platform. Store gear. Prepare to travel. The TxDOT fuel tank is also designed to be used from the deck of TxDOT's heavy equipment trailers and heavy utility trailers using the AC 115 gas-powered generator. Weight distribution is critical when using heavy equipment trailers. When transporting a single tank, place the center of the tank between the green 15% to 20% zone that is marked on the trailer by a green stripe. Tie down the tank using the D-rings on the trailer to the 4 points on the top of the tank using no smaller than 3/8-inch chain and ratchet boomers. When transporting two tanks simultaneously, place the first tank completely forward of the green 15% to 20% zone, leaving several feet between the green stripe and the tank. Place the second tank several feet behind the green stripe. Leave ample room to walk between the tanks. The tanks should be end-to-end with the storage compartment facing each other. This allows for safe fueling from the deck of the trailer. Tie down all 4 points on each tank to the trailer D-rings. Each TxDOT filled to 90 to 95% with fuel will weigh approximately 9,000 pounds. Always verify the weight capacity of the trailer being used. When performing fueling operations from the deck of an equipment haul trailer, always empty the back tank first. This will keep the majority of the trailer payload weight on the truck hitch. If transporting diesel in one tank and gasoline in one tank, determine the primary fuel needed and place the primary tank to the rear of the trailer. It is recommended to place the generator upwind, not less than 50 feet from the tanks. Along with the detachable 12-volt pump and motor, the TxDOT tank is also equipped with an AC 115-volt motor and pump. The AC pump is hard-mounted and piped in the storage end of the tank and is intended to be used when the tank is on a trailer deck or on the ground. The pump will be equipped with a quick disconnect outlet fitting that the fuel nozzle hose attaches to during fuel operations. As always, be sure to use the appropriate PPE, dissipate static, and use safe fueling procedures. It is recommended that prior to fueling operations, you deploy the trailer jack to the ground and apply some weight. This will dissipate any static charge built up on the trailer. The tank can then be grounded to the trailer instead of using the grounding plate. When filling the TxDOT from a TxDOT fueling station, you will need to use the ladder platform to access the hatches. Remember to securely attach the platform to the truck bed with the cable lock provided. Remove the filler cap and place the hose into the fuel inlet in the fitting compartment on the TxDOT tank. Never fill the tank completely full. To compensate for expansion, leave approximately 5% of the tank unfilled, or just under the full mark. Never leave the tank unattended while the fueling operation is underway. When fueling is complete, place the appropriate placard on the vehicle. By law, placards must be placed on all 4 sides of the vehicle. During emergency operations, it may be necessary to rapidly transport tanks across the state. To expedite this operation with limited resources, the empty TxDOT can be transported using heavy utility trailers, equipment trailers, or 40-foot flatbed trailers, double stacked. Operators are responsible for assuring the load is not overweight or over height. Prior to transporting the TxDOT, always measure the loaded height and calculate the load weight. The empty tank weight is approximately 2,300 pounds. Use the same fueling procedures mentioned previously when transferring fuel from the TxDOT tanks to the 200 and 300-gallon trailer-mounted tanks. When transferring fuel to portable containers, the following safety procedures must be performed. Use approved gasoline container. The gasoline container must be on the ground when filling, not in the truck bed or in the truck. The gasoline nozzle must be touching the metal lip of the portable container. Manually control the gasoline going to the portable container. Fill the portable container no more than 95% full. Place the fuel cap on tightly. Always turn off the AC and DC pump motors when not in use. Make sure that any fuel that might have spilled on the outside of the container has evaporated before loading for transportation. During this short video, we've gone over a lot of steps and shown you how to do a number of procedures that are important for your safety. We don't expect you to remember everything you've seen and heard from one viewing, but it is important that you understand the proper procedures and be able to follow them. Here again are some of the most important things to keep in mind. Don't attempt to move, load, or stack tanks with fuel in the tanks with a 4,000-pound forklift. Always wear the proper personal protection equipment when refueling. Follow the proper steps when stacking, moving, and loading the empty TransCube tank in a dump truck. Remember the checklist for avoiding fires caused by static electricity. And be sure to follow all the steps mentioned when transferring fuel from the TransCube tanks to other tanks. To make learning and remembering all these details easier for you, we've made this video available on the Maintenance Division homepage on Crossroads under Emergency Management Hurricane Preparations. Your dedication and commitment to excellence makes the Texas Department of Transportation an agency we can all be proud to be a part of. Thank you, and remember your safety is the most important thing to keep in mind at all times. You're important to us, but you're also important to your family and friends. We want you to be safe at all times.